Today we are starting 3.5, linear programming. I need you to write this down. These are the types of problems we're going to be dealing with. Farmer Smith wants to plant his field with corn and wheat to sell. Corn produces 113.5 bushels per acre, which sell for $3.15 per bushel. Wheat produces 35.8 bushels per acre and sells for $4.45 per bushel. There are a couple constraints. You need to write this down also. Farmer Smith wants to plant with the following constraints. He can't plant more than 120 acres of corn and wheat. He has 120 acres to use. He needs to plant at least 20 and no more than 80 acres of corn. And he has to plant at least 30 acres of wheat. These are called the constraints. The solution to the set of constraints is called the feasible region. The function to be maximized or minimized is called the objective function. So that first page, that's the function. That's making the money. What these three here are my constraints, and they create a feasible region. What does feasible mean? Doable. It's possible. On our graph paper, what I want you to do is make an XY axis. Just make an XY axis. You can make it dead center, whole side, that's fine. But please use your ruler. Neatness is going to count. Doesn't have to be huge, but make it big enough you can fit things. All right, in our notes, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up with the objective function. What are we talking about in this problem? What's he want to plant?
Corn and wheat.
Corn and wheat. So I'm going to say let corn be X, let wheat equals Y. So my profit is, what do I know about corn? Okay, corn is yellow. Doesn't help me in the math problem though. Okay, we're talking about from here. Okay, so it makes 113.5 bushels. What else do I know? Sells for $3.15. I'll put that down here. That is a P. Okay, that's corn. What do I know about wheat? What does it tell me in the first paragraph? 35.8 bushels. $4.45. P of X equals. Now just do a little bit of math there. What's 113.5 times 3.15? Now use the calculator. $113.5 times 3.15. So I have 356.39x plus 35.8 times 4.45. And I get 159.31. Why? Where did I put 14? Oh, sorry. $357.525. There's my objective function. This will tell me how much profit I'm going to make. For every acre of corn, I'm going to make how much money roughly? $357. For every acre of wheat, roughly I'm going to make $159. Roughly. Just the y. That's what the calculator was counting. That's my objective function. That tells me how much I can make. I need to find out what's feasible. And that's where the feasible region comes in. No more than 120 acres of corn and wheat. How can I write that? X plus y, no more than, less than or equal to 120. I can have 120, but I can't have any more. The second one says at least 20 and no more than 80 acres of corn. At least 20 and no more than 20 acres of corn. Well, let's write it as a compound. What's the smallest amount I can have? 20. Could it be 20? Less than or equal to x. Well, x is greater than 20, and the most I can have is 80. And I must have at least 30 acres of wheat. So what do I know about my wheat? At least 30. So that means I need to have more or less. I need to have more. So greater than or equal to 30. There's my system of constraints. We're going to graph our constraints. Can I graph them all as is? What do I have to do? I have to rearrange the top one. What do I have to do to rearrange? Move the x to the other side. Y less than or equal to negative x plus 120. So this means I start where? 120. How many of you have 120 squares on your graph? No one does. So you need to count by a different number. Count by tens. But if you count by 50s, are you going to be able to graph 20 and 80 and 30 accurately? You want to be as accurate as you can. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I don't have enough room on mine.
Sure we do.
I'm sure you do. What's that? Yeah. So I have 120, and I'm just going to estimate. There's that. That's this. Yeah. So there's 120. What's my slope? Down 1 to the right 1, so I'm right there. My line is solid. It is very important that you use the ruler and draw it as straight as possible. Where's my shading go? Below it. My shading goes below that line because it has to be less than. For this second one, this says my x has to be in between 20 and 80. What type of lines are x's? vertical lines. So it means I have a vertical line at 20 and at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And it has to be in between these two. So draw a vertical line through 20 and a vertical line through 80. Okay, I have my two vertical lines. I have one line left. What type of line is y greater than or equal to 30? It's a horizontal that goes straight through 30. 10, 20, 30. There's my line. The part where everything shares is all of this. It had to be below that first line. It had to be in between my two vertical lines. And it had to be above my horizontal line. This is called my feasible region. This is all we did last section. But now neatness counts. Because what I want to know is this point here, 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 and here. What are those points? Just looking at them, what are they? Well, okay. They are my corners. Wherever you have a corner, that's what I care about. So what's this one right here? This one right here is 2030. You can write it off to the graph on the side. This one over here is 8030. Everyone should have those two. Those last two, you might be off just a little bit, because that's the line you graphed using slope, right? This one is what? 80, 40. Try to pick the closest one you can. And this one up here is 20, 100 on your paper. Yeah. All of this is one problem. That's why I said these problems can be difficult if you look at it as just one big giant thing to do. But if you go piece by piece, it's not too bad. What this means, one of these four numbers will make me the most money. Okay? One of them will make me the most money. One of them will make me the least amount of money. Yeah. All my coordinates are the corners of there. That's what you need to look at. This is why neatness counts. Those corners are the numbers you need. Everyone has those four numbers. These are the four numbers you had, right? Yeah, make this little chart. It's going to help you out. You can do it on the graph paper or in your notes. If you're going to keep your graph paper in your notes, do it on the graph paper, it's fine. But if you're not going to attach that graph, make sure it's in your notes. So copy the chart down first. What we're going to do first is you're going to put in x and y into the function. So for here, I'm going to have 357.525 times 20 plus 159.3 times 30. And in this column, you're going to put how much money you made, or Farmer Smith made. And you can use your calculator. 357.525 times by 20 plus 159.3 times by 30. Press enter. How much money does he make? $11,929.50. Now we're going to do the same thing for the second one. 357.525 times 20 plus 159.3 times 100. Do I have to go through and retype everything again? No. How can I go right to the calculator and start back over? So I don't have to retype everything. It doesn't do that. Second, enter, retypes what I just typed. And the only thing I have to change is change the 30 to 100. Press enter. The farmer made $23,080.50. For the next one, hit second enter again. What do I have to change? 20 becomes an 80, and the 100 becomes a 40. It's a lot easier if you just go in and change the numbers. Press enter. Farmer Smith made $34,974. For this last one, I'm going to change it. 80 is fine, but I need to change the 40 to a 30. Now that you're starting to see what we're doing, you don't need to write the middle column. All right? The middle column, you can just write the objective function and then just go right to the money. And for the money, on this one, it's $33,381. I have these four numbers. Which one's the highest? $34,000. So by doing this, the farmer should grow 80 acres of corn and 40 acre of wheat. This is going to make him the most amount of money. That's the answer. Yes, people really use this. You don't just randomly go out and start doing stuff. A farmer has to know what's going to make me the most money. These problems take a while. They took the whole class. This is a different problem. Now, yeah, write this one down in your notes. We're going to find the max and min values, if they exist, of the objective function s equals 2x plus 3y. So right off the bat, I am telling you what the equation is. You have this set of constraints. X has to be greater than or equal to 0. Y has to be greater than or equal to 0. In other words, you're saying it has to be positive. 5x plus y is greater than or equal to 20. X plus y is greater than or equal to 12. X plus 2y is greater than or equal to 16. What you're going to do for homework is you're going to graph these four. Find the feasible region. Find the corner points. put those corner points into that function and find out which one's the maximum, which one's the minimum.